Our first plenary speaker is Finland's ambassador to the US, Mikko Hautala. He became Ambassador of Finland to the United States 3 years ago, and for the 4 prior years, he served as Ambassador of Finland to Russia. In 2012 to 16, Ambassador Hautala also worked as a foreign policy advisor to the President of the Republic of Finland, and in 2011, he was appointed Deputy Head of Mission to the Embassy of Finland to Russia, located in Moscow. He served as the first secretary at the Permanent Representation of Finland to the EU in Brussels, and early in his career, he served as an attaché at the Embassy of Finland in Kyiv. He holds a master's in political science and a master's degree in philosophy, both from Helsinki University, and he's been a leader in navigating many complex waters over the years, including most recently Finland's joining of NATO this past spring. He's a great partner to us here. The Finland contingent that is here, you can see their booth in the back, and the many companies that have come. They've been a great collaborative partner for all of us here as we work on the quantum ecosystem. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ambassador Mikko Hautala.
Good early morning, dear colleagues. I think Stu just said a couple of things I want to also highlight. He mentioned that location matters, place matters a lot. I think Finland is the coolest place for Kupits, that's for sure. He also mentioned that I used to be the Finnish ambassador to Russia and I moved to the US 3 years ago. Most of my colleagues today say that I made a wise career move. This is a growth industry, Finnish-US relations, and we are really happy to be here. So it's a great pleasure to be here, and I, of course, warmly welcome you all to this 3rd day of Quantum World Congress. And this is a 2nd edition of a congress that is globally first of its kind, a major quantum conference that addresses not only the academia or the business sector, but in addition to them, policymakers, educators, regional developers, and all key stakeholders, including diplomats, ambassadors. And let me also express my sincere appreciation for the work of Connected DMV, committed to delivering bold initiatives across the sectors and boundaries in the Greater Washington area. Thank you for having me here this morning, and thank you for the great collaboration that the Finnish Embassy has had with you since the first Quantum World Congress, November 2022. I remember when the first Congress was being organized and I was asked that could the Finnish Embassy kind of host the evening for the attendees. And obviously in the beginning, there were no embassies who would be ready to foot the bill, take the challenge, and I immediately said, yes, we'll take it. Now all the embassies are fighting and competing for that honor, so that's the first mover advantage. We try to stay in that place. Obviously, you all know in the last decade, countries like mine and companies have invested billions of dollars, euros, and all other currencies in their quantum programs. Still, their comparative success is not always a direct consequence of the quantities of money they spend. Science and technology are a bit like sports. The richest team doesn't always win. And this is actually a really important point from my own country. Neither is success poorly dependent on luck. The evolution of quantum, like other critical technologies, takes place in a world of comparative advantages. If countries and companies concentrate on what they do best, we will reach the highest individual and overall success rates. This is what the theory says, and this is also what we believe to be true in practice. Now let me use my own country, Finland, as an example. Judging only by money we spent or the number of experts we have in this field, it's a small country. Finland is not likely to be a top team in quantum, judging by these aspects. However, I do believe It is one of the top teams, as witnessed by a number of Finnish companies and research entities here in this event, and also just by the real action that takes place in Finland. The other night I asked the audience if they had seen ever a film, I think it came out like 12 years ago, Moneyball, where Brad Pitt was the general manager of Oakland Athletics baseball team. And he had a big problem because the team he was running was much poorer. They didn't have the same player budget like the richer teams. So he had to get smart and he had to find a different way of playing the game. So my conclusion, after having studied this field really intensely for a couple of years, is that Finland is the Oakland Athletics of the quantum world. And you know what happened? Oakland Athletics did win, but unfortunately I'm not, despite my hairstyle, I'm not Brad Pitt. So that's how it is. I'm going to tell you a couple of points. How do we see, what can country do to gain a comparative advantage? How can it make decisions that promote groundbreaking technologies such as quantum? The first part of the answer is straightforward, but it requires patience. Invest in education and basic science. This is what we have been doing for decades. Let researchers experiment. Trust that it will bring good results, good things, and eventually economic benefit. Second lesson, hold on to what good you have created. The Finnish tradition that was established already almost by 60 years ago in cold temperature physics, that is a good example, because its founders back in 1965 didn't think of quantum computers, but they have ensured that extremely low temperatures are now available when we need them. For example, when you want your qubits to be very cold and stable. In addition to cold temperatures, we have studied the basic elements of light in photonics, which is one of the key areas also for us. So we have done in advanced materials, microelectronics, quantum algorithms, and more. Is it a coincidence that Finland has strengths in more than just one or two of these areas? To an extent, it probably is. To be sure, there was no such a thing like national quantum strategy 50 years ago. There was no idea of building ever a commercial quantum computer. But what we may have had enough is the right kind of intuition in deciding what to hold on to and what to leave behind in light of the existing synergies and possibilities. My third lesson, when technologies have grown near to maturity, help these creatures grow out of the lab. Make national technology strategies, encourage angel investors, educate the workforce, and do whatever practical things you need to do to make them walk. My country, again, is a good example, and we are on a good path in this respect. For example, as a part of our national budget, our government just decided to invest 70 million euros for the VTT, National Technical Research Center of Finland, with its stakeholders to scale VTT's existing quantum computer up to 300 qubits. Do you need astronomical sums of money? It depends. 70 million euros is not astronomical, but it's a big money for a small country. But then you have to calculate also educated workforce, high standards in basic research, and smoothly working R&D ecosystem. These can significantly improve the return rate of the investment. And actually, we expect to see hundreds of millions of private money to be invested on top of this government seed money. To achieve these capabilities and the workforce, the leading Finnish universities are also now committed to building a quantum-ready society with new educational programs based on the latest achievements in basic research. It also helps to have some kind of a startup culture. In our case, we have a paradox in the background, a blessing in disguise, if you will. Everybody knows Finnish company Nokia. They are now really succeeding in making those 5G networks, planning to move along to 6G. But it once was the world's largest manufacturer of cell phones. And about 10 years ago, they basically lost that race against Apple, Samsung, and some others. And many Finns considered that a national tragedy. It's the end of the world. And Nokia actually did play a big role in the Finnish national budget in GDP. So it was a big news. And obviously, thousands of engineers and developers were suddenly, basically overnight, found themselves without jobs. And can you guess what they did? They created some new ideas and established actually tens and hundreds of companies in the aftermath of that. As a result, our whole technology landscape became much more diverse, and we had this emerging and now really thriving startup culture, which is more robust and, which is important, less risk-averse than it ever was before. So there was a blessing in disguise with this. Lesson number 4. The development of new technologies includes always risks and occasional rough rides. You have to see opportunities there. It is now fashionable to speak about full-stack quantum solutions. My country has expertise in a range of quantum technology areas, but is that the complete stack? No. No, it's not, if you mean by that self-sufficiency. Any of the relevant technology areas contain smaller subsystems of comparative advantages, networks of cooperation, and sometimes competition, spread among a large number of researchers and companies in a number of countries. This leads me to my final and most far-reaching lesson from the point of view of global competition: the necessity of international cooperation. No country can do it alone in quantum if it wants to achieve optimal results. Not even the United States, which they openly acknowledge to their partners. Of course, you could try it alone, but it's also about speed. Speed matters here. And to be clear, it's about who and which countries get there first. Like I'm sure most of you understand better than I do, a number of bottlenecks towards any mass-produced radical new technology can be staggering. In quantum, many of the remaining issues are about noise, errors, micromechanical faults, and loss of coherence in very challenging environment. Since we do not know beforehand who will solve what is still unsolved, sharing information between trusted partners allows a large number of safe trials. So this is the fastest way forward. But it requires trust, and trust. And actually, trust is never based on interests alone. It must be also based on values. This is why values, democratic values, in our case, matter a lot. One of the challenges on top of that, that we need to confront in the international arena is its public understanding, the change in worldview. We are moving back from the black and white logic of digital bit, where everything is either a 1 or 0, to the world of qubits, where there are innumerable shades of gray. Some scientists argue that this, more than anything else, is the true language of nature. What it actually means is very far from clear. Quantum theory is often counterintuitive and gives only really limited help. It promises to include a huge capability for sensing, measuring, and imagining and computing, allowing technological solutions that are much more sensitive, holistic, intuitive, and potentially intrusive than anything we have seen. On top of that, they would be faster than any current technologies by an incredible big margin. While the actual shape of the quantum era largely remains in the dark and surrounded by smoke, some reasons for both optimism and concern are already become clear. Here, the comparison between the atomic age and the quantum age is justified. Like nuclear physics, quantum science converts our knowledge of nature's basic forces into immense technological power. That makes them dual-use technologies. I think the next panel discussion is exactly about this. And these are suited for both civil and military uses. Perhaps more than any preceding technology, quantum's key tenets run so much against common sense that Charles Tehan, leader of the US National Quantum Initiative at the White House, once called it spooky technology. As the Ambassador of Finland, I'm really proud to see a lot of Finnish researchers and companies at the heart of making sense of this transformation and influencing its future direction. Am I at least equally proud and happy to see that they can do that with a group of countries, each with its unique strengths, gathered here at the Quantum World Conference organized by Connected DMV. Conferences and networks like this ensure that we can face quantum transformation in a group of friends who acknowledge the freedom of research and free and democratic values of our societies. This is the only way to guarantee that if we proceed fast, we will do it in just, democratic and inclusive ways. With these words, I would like to welcome you to enjoy the third and final day of the Quantum World Congress of 2023. I hope that you all have a very good and productive conference. Thank you.